public transportation sector is forced to do better. The problem is now that the middle class don't take public transportation almost at all. And therefore, very few people care.
Well, you're right. But you notice what we build? We build roads. We
Yeah,
don't
that's what
build,
I'm
we don't build
saying.
subways, we don't build trains, we build roads. So we're encouraged to buy car, to drive. For me to get here, we didn't have a train system that comes here. It's road. So
I agree.
New York was planned. They have vision to see ahead. When they developed Portmore, they developed Portmore with lanes and tracks and all of that. Not enough roads. The roads were too narrow. And they still have not finished developing Portmore yet. So I understand what you're getting at, but that out of my pay scale and my because it's a politician decision to say, all right, boy, we have this train thing from Maypen, and we just make it come, it just rotten down. Why? Because we didn't see the vision to improve our circulation using the train system or the subway. We can use you notice we don't have tunnels here. We go around and we cut down mountain to get around here. Why? Because we don't look ahead. We don't see that kind of thing. It's nice to see what happened in New York, but we need a culture out here.
But here's a question. I'm sorry to be, but how will it change? I know it's not going to change from the governmental level. Do you think the tip of the spear is actually going to be gentlemen like yourself who are in the industry, who understand what is eventually going to happen if we don't do this? Because one of the concerns I have, Jamaica is a very small island, and because of the real estate boom, there's a build out. So the cities are getting bigger instead of build up. So by building out, we're losing more green space. And I've seen in some parishes where the land that was irrigated and left for farming for hundreds of years being used for housing development, and you can't correct that. So my concern is that we are allowing it to happen how it's happening. And then in 100 years, it can be fixed. Does it make sense for us to stop and think and reimagine how we're developing, hence try to save some of the land and try to, force the hand of the government, if you were?
Okay, I think that one is something I respond to. So over the years, one of the things that architects in Jamaica have advocated for is to save the farmlands. So as you have said, a lot of especially in Clarendon and St. Catherine and those areas, out of the lands that were previously in cane and would have been in tobacco at some point in time, they're building houses on them now. Now those lands are good, fertile agricultural lands, flat lands. Part of the reason why that came about, unfortunately, is, as you said, the cost of living. Persons cannot afford to buy some of the real estate that's within Kingston and some of those other places within St. Andrew. So it has caused for sprawling to take place on the neighboring parishes, and they become almost like dormitory communities. Portmore is a good example of that, but one of the good things about Portmore is that there's almost everything over there now, but excepting a hospital and a good enough transportation system. Now, Portmore has almost as much people now as near Kingston. And years ago, it was said that why not put in something like a ferry system, that you leave from Portmore, you come into downtown Kingston, right, and you'd have some sort of shuttle bus that carry you to New Kingston or in and around Kingston. They haven't done anything like that. The same thing goes for the train service. We used to have train service on Montego Bay to Kingston from Maypen side into Kingston. Those things have gone. So as you have heard, Jamaicans love them car. They don't trust the existing transportation system. And unfortunately, if you look at roads like Constant Spring Road and Boulevard and those places, it was just widened a couple years ago. It's a mess already. So they're not thinking beyond that, and it is unfortunate.
You're building the road now to St. Thomas, and they put in the train station. So that the new development all the way, they're proposing a connection between Kingston, St. Thomas, Portland, and come around. And there was no train, no transportation except for motor vehicle transportation. You could put a train system that runs parallel to the road because you're now doing the development. But that thinking is still not there because government get a good amount of money from imported car. So there is self-interest there somewhere.
Some other agenda. Mark wants to respond, and then we have one last question.
Let me just
finish up that conversation there. It's all about money, why we don't have it, okay? There's a lot of people in the government that made a lot of money on importing cars. I found an interesting figure recently. Last year, we imported 22,000 cars into Jamaica. That's 1 year. This has been ongoing for the last 5 years, 10 years. Is there any wonder every time you come back to Jamaica, or every time we venture out, how longer it's taking us to go from Kingston to here? So, good news. Recently, Jamaica invited University of Pennsylvania and a landscape architecture firm that does big government projects. And they invited them here to do a design project for the waterfront in Kingston, okay? And when I was there critiquing the work of the students and the firm, one of the things that they suggested was to try to bring back the trams that we used to have. So whether or not electrical trams are worthwhile or not, it's part of the discussion, what you're dealing with here. It's not a matter of if we need it. It's just a matter of time for us to do it. We now have Ubers and those types of conveniences for us. And why wouldn't a rail service work here? Think about a rail journey going through the heart of Jamaica, how beautiful that is, okay? It's just a matter of money. We didn't monetize it. And if we found a way for people to make money from it, it will happen right away.
Hey, what's going on? Throp here. I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see the entire video, you can click right here. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below.